Day 21. Happy solstice, everyone. Probably. Is it the 21st or is it the 20th this year? I don't know. Anyway, it's we're here anyway. It's day 21 of the Radio Free Scar Fluid Links Advent Calendar. Here is the question from Joshua Maxwell asking us this. What are your personal hopes and dreams for the focus and story of Series 13? Speculate.
All right, I'll let you guys have your Thasmin time.
Thasmin, 100% Thasmin.
I cede the floor to Stephen.
Yeah, I'm well on board with the Thasmin thing because it looks like it's going to be nothing unless, of course, something has happened in between the time we are saying this and the time this fluid link goes out. But it looks like it's going to be Jodie and Mandip a solo, just the two of them in the TARDIS together, alone in Series 13
with a bottle of wine.
But you never know. I am
at the very least
intrigued. Listen, I'm intrigued just with the fact that if that's the case, that it's a 100% female-led series, which has never happened in Doctor Who before, and I'm very excited by the possibilities and the approach and the stories and everything else that would be covered in such a thing. I think I'm quite intrigued by that. So I'll start there.
Do you think that would promote a more female-centric set of stories?
I think it would have to, wouldn't it? I mean, as easy as it is to say, well, it's just the Doctor. It's just the Doctor. You just throw the Doctor in and just have this generic Doctor character in the middle of all these stories. But sometimes it's just nice to be able to focus on what that character is. Is Matt Smith too young? He shows up as a lodger and just kind of this weird little guy, and he plays soccer everywhere. Peter Capaldi probably wouldn't play soccer, so that episode is kind of tailored to Matt Smith's thing. And you know what? An episode where it's just Jodie Whittaker and Mandip Gill showing up in a place and sort of having to do it as two ladies in the midst of, I don't know, some sort of situation where perhaps it's not the best for women, i.e. everyone. I think it would be a very intriguing approach for a story. Yeah. Warren, what do you got?
I don't think you drop the Jo Martin Doctor in without doing anything more with her. So they better do something with that, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it might be, like a whole adventure, just one story, but have the two Doctors together.
Right?
It's bound to be better than the two Doctors. Besides that, they also dropping the Timeless Children in there. Like, you don't have to have more about it, except bits and pieces. Like, thread the needle a little bit more. Besides that, we've got this master now. We better use him. so those are the biggies, I think.
You can't let Sacha Dhawan get away that easily.
No, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
And that's just silly, as far as I'm concerned. Also, more historicals. They seem to be quite good at those. So
that's true. Yeah.
I would love to see finally the jump to a pure historical.
Oh,
just straight up historical.
Straight up pure historical. None of this Rosa, but you have the 50s leather guy alien, or
it barely needed it. In fact, it didn't need it.
No,
or Demons of the Punjab with the observational aliens.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that part, but yeah,
they've had some stories that have come so very, very close to being that pure historical that it's not that much further to go. And I think it would work. You can't do it every week because you got to have the sci-fi and the space and the whatever. But I think it's doable.
Yeah.
The fact they are only going to have the 8 episodes ish, plus minus whatever it ends up being, allows them potentially anyway to do stuff that's going to be, because there are fewer episodes to produce and watch. The impact of any of those one episodes is going to be that much greater than if it were 10 or 12 or 15 or whatever episodes.
Yeah,
they have a chance to make a very impactful pure historical.
Just an impactful episodes in general, just because they won't have the globe-trotting stuff that they did in the past 2 years, going to South Africa or which place, going to Spain for some of that stuff. Like, it's all going to be in the UK. In many ways, I am kind of looking forward to seeing how the limitations affect this series of Doctor Who. You know,
Yeah,
how will they play? You know, they're not going to make it all COVID with like here we are, we're all like, you know, on Zoom calls and stuff like that. They are actually going to try to make a proper actual Doctor Who episode in a series of them, but not having those. I'm not to say crutches, but those, you know, those sort of like options
features.
Yeah. It feels very minimalist. It kind of reminds me in a way of for James Bond fan. I'm not a James Bond scholar, but you know, For Your Eyes Only from 1981 was very much a scaled down return to sort of the core elements of James Bond after, like, you know, going Moonraker and The Spy Who Loved Me, like all these elaborate 1970s madness. And then, of course, you look at Timothy Dalton stuff, too, is sort of like pared it down a little bit. And I'm kind of intrigued to see a more pared down, but still dramatically punchy.
In a way, Daniel Craig stuff is like that, too.
Very much like Daniel Craig, yeah.
Also, I was just thinking about this. Not that I want Doctor Who to ever be like Reservoir Dogs, but something along the lines of we're all stuck in this one place because a crisis is happening outside that we don't see, like Reservoir Dogs and probably countless other situations as well. Right. I wouldn't mind seeing that as well. Maybe not necessarily a base under siege, but something where they can't go outside and they're stuck in this one place. Why, do something along those lines. Because why not? This is the perfect time to have a quote-unquote bottle episode.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, by the time this thing actually comes out, the pandemic might well be over for the most part. So we're not going to it's such a tough thing for Doctor Who to have to do, to shoot everything during a pandemic, and then it'll come out when the pandemic is more or less over. We, in a year's time, will want nothing to do with the pandemic or anything. It
doesn't have to be a pandemic thing, though. It could be. It's as long as it's done well. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting series, though. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that will happen in Series 13. I hope. So, my personal hope is that it airs at a time that is convenient for this podcast to record. I think that's what probably we can all wish for, right?
Sure, and that they do it safely.